Most people will spend their entire lives searching for comfort. They'll design their day around avoiding pain. They'll hit snooze, skip the gym, eat what feels good, watch TV to escape, and they'll wonder why they're not strong, why they're not confident, why they feel stuck. The truth? Comfort has lied to them their entire life. It promised peace but delivered weakness. It whispered ease but stole their edge. Comfort is the slick salesman selling you mediocrity in disguise. And the second you buy in, the second you accept it as your default, you start dying inside. Slowly, quietly, and eventually, completely. You want strength? Real strength? You won't find it in the soft parts of life. You find it in the suffering, in the resistance, in the part of the day that breaks most people. You find it when you wake up before you're ready, when you run in the cold, when your body is screaming to stop and you tell it to shut up. You want to be a warrior? Then act like one. Warriors don't live in comfort. They train in the fire. They find pain and shake its hand because they know the pain is where the edge is built. The moment life gets uncomfortable, most people back off, their heart rate rises, and they panic. They search for the exit, but what they don't realize is that discomfort is the signal that growth is near. That feeling of pressure, of fatigue, of doubt, that's not your limit. That's your potential calling. And most ignore it. They believe the lie that pain is a warning. But in reality, it's a gift. It's the proof that you're pushing the boundaries. And boundaries only move. You're building the habit of weakness. You're rehearsing failure. You're conditioning yourself to back down. And over time, it becomes who you are. You don't just avoid the cold. You avoid hard conversations, challenges, goals, purpose. You hide in the shadows of who you could have been. You become average. Because you trained yourself to be that way, the little compromises add up. The "I'll do it tomorrow" adds up. The skipped workouts, the missed reps, the excuses, they add up. And one day you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. You want to break that cycle? Then break yourself. Break the comfort, break the routine that keeps you soft. Run in the rain. Lift when you're sore, study when your voice shakes, live in a way that's allergic to ease. That's how you grow. You don't need a new hack, you need grit. You don't need a secret formula, you need suffering. And not once, every single day. Start choosing hard on purpose. Choose it before life chooses it for you, because life doesn't care about your comfort zone. It's going to slap you with death, with failure, with heartbreak, with fatigue, and if you've never trained in pain, you won't survive it. You'll break like a twig in a storm. But if you've lived in discomfort, if you've chased suffering, if you've stared pain in the face every day, you don't break. You bend. You adapt. Looking for ways to make things easier. Start looking for ways to make yourself harder to kill. You should be the type of person that runs toward the suffering, not away from it. Because you know what it gives you? It gives you edge. It gives you clarity. It gives you power. It's not about being a masochist. It's about using pain as a tool, as a test, as a daily reminder that you're alive and growing and becoming something sharper. When the alarm clock rings and your body wants to stay down, that's the test. When your legs burn halfway through the run, that's the test. When your heart beats out of your chest during a workout and your mind says stop, that's the test. And the test never ends. It's every damn day. And every damn day you either pass or fail. You either rise or retreat. And that decision becomes your identity. Not the occasional win, the consistent battle, the relentless war with comfort. That's what builds a beast. There's no glory in ease. Nobody respects the guy who took it easy and faded into irrelevance. You don't write your name in history books by playing it safe. You get there by doing what hurts, by bleeding when others rest, by suffering louder than anyone else and never backing down. Comfort kills legacy. It kills intensity. It kills everything worth having, and if you let it, earn it through chaos. You want pride? Then get it from discipline. You want self-respect? Then earn it in the trenches of discomfort. Every cold shower, every hard run, every miserable rep. That's where it comes from. That's how it's made. Not on the couch, not under warm blankets, not in comfort. In pain, in fight, in fire. The moment you start chasing pain is the moment your life starts changing. It stops being a cycle of excuses and becomes a journey of conquest. You stop being someone who watches and start being someone who dominates. People will call you crazy, let them. People will say it's too much, let them. Because they'll still be talking while you're building, while you're climbing, while you're earning your strength the hard way. Waiting for someone to come fix your life. You're waiting for the right opportunity, for someone to believe in you, for someone to push you, to motivate you, to give you the green light. That's the problem. You're still waiting. You haven't realized the truth. No one is coming. No one's going to show up one day and hand you the life you dream about, that fantasy of being discovered, being rescued, being lifted out of your mess. It's a lie, a beautiful, dangerous lie. And the longer you believe it, the longer you stay weak, stuck, helpless. You think you need support? You think you need encouragement? You think someone is supposed to guide you through every damn step? Let me tell you something. The people who win in life are the ones who stop asking for help and start helping themselves. The people who make it are the ones who look around, see nothing but darkness, and still keep moving. Not because they had a cheerleader, not because someone gave them a blueprint, but because they refused to stop. Because deep inside they knew this was their fight, their mission, their life. There is no coach coming, no mentor with the answers, no miracle moment where it all clicks. You are the answer. You are the rescue plan. You are the motivation you're waiting for. You are the discipline you keep chasing. You are the savior you keep hoping will appear. You versus you. That's the only fight that matters. That's the only battle you'll fight every single day, and it doesn't stop. Not for holidays, not for bad days, not when it's raining. Outsourcing your willpower. You don't become relentless by asking for permission. You want to be strong? Then stop acting weak. You want to lead? Then stop waiting to be led. You want to evolve? Then stop standing still. No one's coming to get you out of bed. No one's dragging you to the gym. No one's making you study. No one's forcing you to stay consistent. That's on you. All of it. You want the truth? The truth is most people are soft because they've built a life around being helped, around being managed, around being told what to do. But the ones who rise above, the beasts, the killers, the untouchables, they built themselves alone. They walked through fire without a map. They didn't wait for motivation. They created it. They didn't look for direction. They created it. And when it hurt, when it got ugly, when it felt like everything was against them, they smiled and kept going. Because they knew no one was coming. You have to become that person, that machine, that force of nature that doesn't need applause to act, that doesn't need comfort to commit, that doesn't need the perfect setup to begin. You show up, you grind, you build, whether it rains or shines, whether you feel like it or not, whether people believe in you or doubt you, you show up and you keep showing up. Because you're not waiting for anything. You're not depending on anyone. You made the decision. You own the responsibility. It's on you. Not just hear it, but absorb it. Your life changes. You stop blaming. You stop complaining. You stop scrolling and comparing. You stop begging for advice. You stop chasing quick fixes. Because you realize this is your war. This is your path. And the sooner you take full control, the sooner you start to rise. It's not about being independent. It's about being accountable, ruthlessly accountable. You hold yourself to a higher standard. You don't need someone to yell at you, you yell at yourself. You don't need someone to correct you, you correct yourself. You don't need a boss to push you, you push yourself. Every time, without fail. This is what separates the average from the relentless. The average wait for energy, they wait for inspiration, they wait for the right mood. The relentless, they don't care how they feel, they don't care what day it is, they don't care who's watching, they show up anyway. Because they know the clock is ticking, they know the world owes them nothing, they know the pain of discipline. Nobody is coming to apologize for your setbacks. Nobody is coming to understand your excuses. You either rise or you rot. You either fight or you fold. You either take over your life or you give it away, piece by piece, to the people and things that don't care about you. The moment you realize no one's coming to save you is the moment you become powerful. It's not a punishment, it's freedom. Because now you're not waiting, you're acting. You're not hoping, you're working. You're not depending, you're becoming. You're becoming someone unshakable. Someone that doesn't need external fuel to keep the fire burning. You become self-made, self-fed, self-built. People are going to doubt you. Let them. People are going to misunderstand you. Let them. Because while they're watching, while they're talking, while they're doing nothing, you'll be working, growing, grinding, winning, quietly, consistently, without a handout, without a favor, without a savior. Most people live lukewarm lives. They dip their toes in, test the water, then back out the moment it gets deep. They say they want success, but they treat it like a hobby. They talk big, but their actions are small. They call it balance. They call it self-care. But the truth is, they're just not hungry. They're not willing to go all in. They're not obsessed. And that's why they'll never make it. You think greatness is something you stumble into by accident? No. Greatness is built through obsession, through ruthless, relentless, all-subsuming obsession. You want to be remembered? You want to build something real? Then you better be willing to sacrifice everything. Your time, your comfort, your distractions, the average life you've been clinging to like a security blanket, because obsession doesn't live with compromise. It doesn't leave room for excuses. It doesn't coexist with moderation. It devours everything in its path. You don't rise by being interested. You rise by being possessed. By waking up with fire in your gut and going to bed with that same fire still, then you've got to do what few are willing to do. Obsession means you don't clock out. You don't take weekends off. You don't need a break every time it gets hard. Your life becomes the mission. You breathe it. You think about it when you're eating, when you're training, when you're in the shower, when you're trying to sleep. It follows you everywhere. It's in your blood. That's the level you have to live at if you want to become unstoppable. People will call you insane. Let them. People will say you need to relax. Let them. That's what they say to justify their own weakness. Because deep down, they know they're not built for this. They're not willing to give what it takes. But you were never meant to be average. You were meant to break limits. You were meant to do something with your life that echoes, and that kind of life is only built through obsession, through the refusal to settle, through the hunger to keep pushing when others fall back. Obsession gives you an edge. It makes you sharper, faster, harder to kill. While they're scrolling, you're studying. While they're sleeping, you're sweating. While they're doubting, you're building. It's not about time management. It's about priority. You either prioritize your purpose or you prioritize your comfort. You can't serve both. You either live to win or you live to be forgotten. This world is full of people who once had potential but lacked obsession. They had talent, but they lacked the discipline to show up every day like their life depended on it. Obsession doesn't ask if you feel like it. Obsession doesn't care if you're tired. Obsession doesn't ask for permission. It kicks the door down. It shows up when it's ugly. It does the work when no one's clapping. Obsession doesn't want applause. It wants progress. It wants to see you bleed for your goals. It wants you to sacrifice who you are for who you could become. Because there is no transformation without obsession. There is no elevation without that singular focus, that eye of the storm level commitment where nothing else matters more. You want clarity? Get obsessed. You want results? Get obsessed. Stop giving half effort and expecting full rewards. Stop wishing for success and start living it. Every second, every breath. You've got to wake up hungry and go to bed starving, and then do it again and again until obsession becomes identity. Until you're not pretending to be disciplined, you are disciplined. Until people look at you and see the fire in your eyes and know you're not like them. This isn't for everyone. Most people will hear this and get uncomfortable. That's fine. They weren't built for legacy. But if you feel something burning inside you, if you've been looking at your life and knowing deep down you're capable of more, then this is your call. This is your challenge. Step into the obsession. Let it consume your life. Let it strip away everything soft, everything lazy, everything unworthy. Let it mold you into someone who doesn't break, doesn't quit, doesn't make excuses. Someone who becomes a machine for growth, a force for domination, a relentless, undeniable presence in everything you do. Every second you delay, someone else is outworking you. Someone else is pulling ahead, and while you're rationalizing your laziness, they're stacking victories. Obsession doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees you'll be feared. It guarantees you'll be respected. It guarantees that win or lose, you'll leave a mark. That's what this is about. Not just winning, but becoming the type of person who demands victory by the way they show up. But there's no plan B when you're obsessed. There's no escape hatch. There's only forward, only through. You either evolve or you decay. You either climb or you rust. You either chase your mission like a beast or you live your life wondering what it would have felt like if you had gone all in. Obsession doesn't leave room for regret. It burns that option to the ground. And if you want to build something permanent, something real, something powerful, you better become addicted to that level of intensity. Discipline is the weapon. It's the blade that cuts through every excuse, every distraction, every weakness. Discipline isn't motivation. Motivation comes and goes like the wind. Discipline stays when everything else walks away. It doesn't care if you feel like it. It doesn't care if you're tired, sore, busy, overwhelmed. Discipline is what shows up when you don't want to. When the world is telling you to quit, to slow down, to relax, discipline doesn't listen. It obeys a different code, one built in silence, one trained in pain. You don't become strong by doing what's easy. You become strong by doing what's necessary. And what's necessary isn't always fun. It's rarely glamorous. It's often painful. That's why so few people choose it. They choose comfort. They choose softness. They choose distraction over direction. And every time they do, they reinforce weakness. They become experts at quitting, at skipping, at backing off. They train themselves to fold. And then they wonder why their life doesn't change. They wonder why the antidote to that weakness. You want to get better? You want to evolve? Then you need to build a life around discipline. Not just sometimes, not just when it's convenient. Every damn day. You make a promise to yourself, and you keep it. You write the plan and you execute it. You say you'll show up, and then you do. Not because it's easy, because you said so. Because your word means something. Because you decided you're done negotiating with laziness. Weakness isn't some external enemy. It lives inside you. It lives in the voice that says, just this once. Take it easy today. You've done enough. That voice is always looking for a way in. A crack in your armor. One excuse leads to two, two lead to 10, and before you know it, you're back at 0, you're back on the couch, you're back complaining, you're back feeling sorry for yourself. Discipline shuts that voice down before it speaks. Discipline doesn't debate, it executes. It gets up when it hurts, it works when no one claps, it keeps going when nobody's watching. Every time you choose discipline, you kill weakness, you kill fear, you kill that soft part of yourself that's been holding you back. And it doesn't happen all at once. It happens in reps of hard choices, of early alarms, of cold showers, of long runs, of staying locked in when the mind screams to check out. Every rep makes you sharper. Every rep reinforces your identity. Every rep is a vote for the sacrifice. They want power without pressure. They want strength without the struggle. It doesn't work that way. Discipline is the price, and most aren't willing to pay it. They flirt with commitment. They dabble in effort. But when the pain hits, they tap out because they never made the decision to suffer on purpose. They never made the decision to dominate their feelings instead of being owned by them. You want to be a machine? Then build habits like one. Set your targets, lock in your focus, remove your options, make your life so structured that failure becomes impossible unless you choose it. That's what discipline does. It removes choice. It removes emotional decision-making. You no longer ask yourself if you feel like doing it. You do it because it's what you do. Because it's who you are. That identity is forged through fire, through dragging yourself through the things you hate until they become normal, until they become necessary. Discipline is what makes the hard things automatic. At first, it hurts. Every workout is a battle. Every early morning feels like war. But over time, discipline rewires you. It makes the grind feel familiar. It makes the pain feel productive. You stop fearing discomfort. You crave it. You learn to love the weight on your shoulders. Because you know what it's doing. It's hardening your mind. It's sharpening your edge. It's erasing the old you. You don't need better strategies. You need discipline. Discipline is what gets you results when the excitement is gone. When the crowd is gone. When the energy is gone. Discipline is what's left when everything else is empty. And if you train it, if you live by it, there's nothing you can't overcome. Pain becomes fuel, repetition becomes power, and every time you show up, you become more dangerous. There's nothing sexy about discipline. It's not flashy, it's not viral, it's quiet, it's behind the scenes. It's what separates the ones who talk from the ones who take over. Everyone wants to win. Few want to do what winning requires, because what it requires is brutal consistency. It requires showing up broken, showing up tired, showing up defeated, and still getting after it like you're on top of the world. Not because you feel like it, because it's your standard. Discipline doesn't care how many obstacles are in your way. It just keeps swinging. It keeps climbing. It keeps doing the work. One brick at a time, one rep at a time, one brutal, unforgiving, relentless action at a time. And slowly, that effort turns into strength. That consistency turns into confidence. That suffering turns into domination, not just over your goals, but over yourself. Everyone's a champion in the beginning. When it's new, when it's exciting, when the fire's still fresh, people show up, they talk loud, they move fast, they commit with energy. But then it gets hard. the adrenaline fades, the soreness kicks in, the schedule gets tight, the progress slows down, and that's when they start backing off. That's when they start justifying shortcuts, skipping days, negotiating with discipline. That's when they forget why they started. Because the pain becomes louder than the purpose. That's where most people stop. Right at the edge. Right before the real transformation begins. They step to the line, feel the resistance, and retreat. But what they don't understand is that the resistance is the doorway. That wall isn't a sign to turn back. It's the signal that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That's where the work begins. When your mind screams, when your legs shake, when your will starts cracking, that's not the end. That's the test. That's the invitation to rise. Pain is not the enemy, quitting is. Pain is the teacher, quitting is the excuse. And most people have trained themselves to quit the moment things get uncomfortable. It's automatic. They feel stress and back down. They feel fatigue and hit pause. They feel fear and walk away because they've been conditioned to believe that pain is bad, that suffering means something's wrong. But pain is the price. Suffering is the path. And the longer you avoid it, the longer you delay who you're meant to be. You say you want greatness. You say you want to be elite. Then you better start respecting the pain. You better start leaning into it instead of away from it. Because the real work, your actual growth, begins when you hit that wall and refuse to back off. It begins when your body says, stop, and you say, go. It begins when your brain says, this is too much, and you say, not enough. That's when you start becoming the person who can't be broken. Not when things are smooth, not when it's convenient, but when it's chaos. When it hurts. When everything in you is screaming to quit. And you don't. And the thing that drives me crazy is the second you stop doing something, what separates the winners from the watchers, it's not talent. It's not luck. It's who keeps going after it stops being fun. Who keeps grinding after the hype dies? Who keeps swinging after the crowd leaves? That's the difference. The ones who win are the ones who show up broken, beat up, tired, and still get it done. No fanfare, no spotlight, just grit, just repetition, just brutal, relentless, ugly effort. You have to rewire your mind to love the pain, to crave it, to see it not as something to avoid, but as a tool, as a sharpening blade. Because every rep after you want to quit, that's where your edge is built. That's where the growth lives. You want mental toughness? You don't find it in comfort, you find it in continuing when everything hurts. You find it in the seconds after you would have quit yesterday. That's where it lives. Just past the point of quitting. When you feel that moment, the I can't moment, the I've had enough moment, that's your signal. That's the moment you need to dig deeper. That's the moment that separates the real ones from the posers. Anyone can give 70% when they're fresh. But who are you when you're empty? Who are you when you're at zero? That version of you, that broken down, exhausted version of you, that's the one who will build your legacy. That's the one who matters. You need to become the kind of person who gets more dangerous the more tired they get. You need to train your mind to respond to pain with pressure, to respond to struggle with intensity. You don't shrink, you expand. You don't slow down, you speed up. That's how you win. That's how you become unshakable. Because you've taught yourself that discomfort is your zone. That fatigue is your trigger. Stopped halfway. Nobody writes about the ones who almost made it. The ones who become legends are the ones who pushed through hell and kept moving. When their lungs burned, when their legs locked, when their hearts pounded and the darkness closed in. They didn't stop. They locked in. They found another gear, a darker gear, a savage place inside themselves, that didn't care about feelings, didn't care about comfort, didn't care about odds. It only knew one thing: keep going. You have that gear too, but you'll never find it if you always stop when it hurts. You'll never unlock it if you always listen to that voice telling you to quit. That voice is the enemy. That voice is the limiter. And every time you override it, you get stronger. You prove to yourself that you're in control, that the pain doesn't own you, that weakness doesn't get a vote. You're never going to feel like doing the hard things. You're never going to be excited to suffer. That's why the real ones do it anyway. Not because it's fun, because it's necessary, because they understand that greatness demands suffering. Not once, over and over, on the days you feel amazing, on the days you feel destroyed. There's no difference. The work stays the same, the standard stays the same. People talk about freedom like it's a vacation, like it's peace, like it's comfort, but that's not real freedom. Real freedom is earned through ownership, through doing the work nobody sees, through showing up when no one claps. Real freedom doesn't come from blaming your past, your parents, your boss, your surroundings. It comes from taking full responsibility for everything, every action, every failure, every missed opportunity. Freedom comes from accountability, not the kind you show the world, but the kind you show yourself when no one's watching. Most people will never understand this because they're too busy running from themselves. They build lies around their weaknesses. They point fingers. They make excuses. They say it's not their fault. They say life is unfair, and maybe it is. But here's the truth. As long as you keep blaming everything but yourself, you'll stay stuck. You'll stay weak. You'll stay average. Accountability is brutal. It hurts. It strips away the comfort, but it's also the only thing that will set you free. You want to grow? Stop sugarcoating your results. Stop pretending you gave 100% when you didn't. Stop acting like the world is against you when you're the one holding yourself back. Own it. Own the bad days. Own the missed rep. Own the moments you could have gone harder and didn't. That's where the power is, not in hiding your flaws, but in confronting them, dragging them into the light and saying, this is on me. That takes guts. That takes a level of honesty most people will never reach. You want confidence, it doesn't come from pretending. It doesn't come from affirmations. It comes from accountability. From stacking days where you did what you said you would, from building trust with yourself, from becoming someone who doesn't lie in the mirror. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you grow. Every time you follow through on discipline, you earn freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from guilt, freedom from self-doubt. That's what accountability gives you. You either hold yourself to a higher standard or you don't. You either take ownership or you give it away. And most people hand their power to the world every single day. They blame traffic. They blame the weather. They blame their genetics, their childhood, their relationships, anything but the truth. Because the truth is hard. The truth says, maybe you're not doing enough. Maybe you're not who you say you are. Maybe the problem isn't out there, it's in here. You want to be free? Then stop hiding. Start tracking everything, not just your wins, track your losses. Track the days you didn't show up. Track the reps you skipped, the moments you could have stayed in the fight and chose to check out. That kind of brutal self-awareness is what builds champions. It's what separates the elite from the average. Because the average lie to themselves. The elite hold themselves accountable like their life depends on it. When you mess up, admit it. Don't justify, don't explain, don't water it down. Face it. Feel the sting. That pain, that's the fuel. That's what keeps you from repeating the same mistake. You don't grow from comfort, you grow from confrontation. And the first person you have to confront is always yourself. Every day, every choice, every excuse needs to be exposed and crushed. That's how you sharpen the blade. That's how you stop being a slave to weakness. The most dangerous person is the one who holds themselves accountable with no audience, who doesn't need applause, who doesn't need likes or validation, who does the work in silence because they know the truth is louder than noise. That's what you need to become. Someone who doesn't negotiate with discipline. Someone who doesn't hide from failure. Someone who faces the mirror. And the truth is, you know when you're giving 60%. You know when you're coasting. You know when you're hiding behind fake effort. And every time you let that slide, you kill a part of yourself. You build a habit of weakness, a habit of lying. And lies destroy potential. They keep you locked in cycles of mediocrity. The only way out is to hold yourself to the fire, to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner of your own behavior. Nobody is going to do this for you. No mentor, no program, no coach. They can give you the tools, but the work, the discipline, the follow-through, that's on you every single day. When it's boring, when it's hard, when no one's watching. That's where accountability lives. In the dark, in the quiet, in the repetition. And if you can learn to live there, you become untouchable. That's the paradox. The more you hold yourself accountable, the more freedom you earn. Freedom to trust yourself. Freedom to walk into any room with certainty. Freedom to chase goals without second guessing. Because you've built a foundation that can't be shaken. That's what accountability gives you. Real power. Not the fake kind that's loud online, the kind you carry in your bones. The kind that doesn't need to speak to be felt. Most people hear a powerful message, feel a spark, and then do nothing. They go back to their comfort, back to their excuses, back to the life they claim they want to escape. But change doesn't come from listening, it comes from doing, from showing up when it's hard, from putting in reps when nobody's clapping, from becoming the kind of person who keeps going when every part of you is begging to quit. Being unstoppable has nothing to do with talent or luck. It's a decision, a standard you live by, a refusal to break. You don't get there by talking, you get there by grinding, by holding yourself accountable when no one's watching, by facing the mirror without lying. You build it when you choose pain on purpose, when you train in discomfort until it becomes your home. People want results, but they run from repetition. They want confidence, but avoid accountability. They chase comfort and wonder why they stay stuck. The truth is simple. The life you want will cost you the version of you that's lazy, distracted, and undisciplined. That version has to go. That version doesn't belong in your future. You want freedom? Earn it. Through discipline, through ownership, through effort no one sees, and results no one can ignore. Yeah, the difference between average and elite isn't talent. It's who refuses to quit when everything says stop. The real work starts when it's uncomfortable, when you're tired, when you've got nothing left, and still find a way to move forward. There is no perfect moment. No more waiting, no more hoping. It's time to get up, lock in, start now. No one's coming to save you. It's all on you. This is the beginning of who you were meant to be. Now go earn it.